Hey everyone, I am Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros. And this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast.
Woo!
Hey Noah, today, what is today? We are talking about Sonic Frontiers.
Woo! So, Sonic Frontiers, we talked about it, or at least I guess I did a lot when it first came out and it was announced and everything because it was a new rendition of 3D Sonic. And we have not seen a 3D Sonic game in a while. And Jaden and I really played quite a few of them when we were growing up. And
Yeah,
Sonic
yeah, we
Frontiers is the first ever completely open world Sonic game. There's just so many things about this game that makes it stand out in Sonic's franchise. And it was kind of controversial. It had people saying good and bad things about it. But Sega officially viewed it as a success, and I officially view it as a success. I don't know about Jaden.
like you said, we did grow up playing the 3D Sonic games. Like probably the Sonic game that I have played the most is Sonic Heroes. Yeah, probably
Sonic
I've probably played Sonic
Hero.
Heroes. Yeah, I've probably played Sonic Heroes more than any other Sonic game. I think yeah, I think that's probably an accurate statement. We actually did an episode on Sonic Heroes, let you know that how important that game is to us actually. This is only our second episode based on a Sonic game, which I found, I mean, kind of surprising because
I do find that
we
shocking.
have yeah, because we are, I would say we're both pretty big Sonic fans, and I certainly have played. If you don't count the Sonic Booms, I've played every Sonic 3D game except for I think, well, I get counting the Sonic Booms except for four. And yeah, I mean Sonic has always been my thing. Even while people have hated most of the 3D Sonic games, I would say get average reviews at best. Since probably Sonic Heroes was probably the last very you know, I think overwhelmingly good one in terms of reviews.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, but if you don't count, you know, since then, I mean, yeah, every Sonic game I played, I've still actually enjoyed. I recognize the fact that most people don't, but yeah, it's always been a series that I've enjoyed. And I mean, including the 2D games, but because I have gone back and played every Sonic game. I have
that's
not
true. I
beaten
mean,
most
the
of them.
2D games are usually received well. Like Sonic Mania, wasn't that the last
Yes,
2D
that was the
style
last.
game, and it was received quite well, right?
Oh, it was received very, very well. It got very good reviews. And it's a really cool game. Very difficult. I actually played. I got with the helpful use of a save system. I was able to get pretty far into it, but even then, I had not beaten it. And yeah, that's whatever. I'm just not good at old
Wow,
Sonic
they must
anymore.
be hard.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's difficult.
Yeah, if you don't have the will to beat it, that's insane.
Tough.
But to
It's yeah,
me,
yeah,
the fact that the 2D games were always received a lot better, to me, that reads that old fans don't like the 3D games.
yeah. I don't know if that's it. Um, necessarily, or if it's more like what's the word? I think just the way Sonic is, it's yeah, the mechanics of it, the like going fast and everything like that, is very difficult to translate to 3D. And I think uh yeah, I think that's probably a big thing is a lot of developers, because every time a new Sonic game comes out, a new 3D Sonic, they always introduce some kind of new gimmick to make it fresh, you know. For example, Sonic Unleashed, you have the Werehog, and the Werehog levels.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think that's probably a big example. Sonic, I guess you look at Sonic 06, you had the multiple playable characters with kind of the simultaneously three kind of storylines going on simultaneously. You know, they're all trying to do these different things to make it fresh and new, which I mean is good, but it seems like they forget that before they add all this new stuff, they should probably focus on making sure that the game itself works properly and translates properly. And I feel like they don't do that. But anyway, Sonic Frontiers, I felt like did it rather well. So yeah, like I was actually very happy with this game.
Yeah, I don't know. The gimmick of this game is probably that it's fully open world, and there's never been a Sonic game like that. And like you, I think it was done very, very well. I was going to point out, something you said that I never really considered, but Sonic 3D Sonic games especially are difficult to translate the fact that he has basically limitless super speed. And there's a reason we haven't seen many games about characters with super speed because it's really hard to portray. It's hard to make you feel like you are super fast, and make everything balanced and understandable, easy, controllable. That all makes complete sense to me. Why Sonic
Yeah,
3D games are hard to actually develop.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like if you want to talk like 3D games that have super speed, honestly, I can only even think of two at the top of my head that exist.
Lego,
Um, Lego, yep, Lego Marvel, Lego DC games, and Sonic games. And even the Lego games, I would say it's more
DC Universe
aesthetics.
Online.
Oh, you know what? DC Universe Online did do it well, Noah. You know what? I'll give you that one. Um, anyway, love it. Let's talk about it. Let's get into Noah, the setting. Sonic Frontiers takes place on the Starfall Islands, a long abandoned group of islands in the Sonic world. The game consists of four main islands and a small fifth island that is visited in the story. The four main islands, you have Kronos Island, which is a kind of plains, mountains kind of island. Ares Island, which is more like a desert, plateaus island. Chaos Island, which is a volcano, it's a big volcano. Oranos Island, which is kind of the same plains, mountains themes as the first one, and then Rhea Island, which is just visited as part of the story. Oh, also, the game does feature a day-night cycle and weather.
I don't remember seeing much weather.
It does exist. It rains sometimes. I think, has absolutely zero effect on the gameplay, but it does happen.
Absolutely. I will say, these maps, first of all, they are huge. Maybe to, have Sonic the super speed and actually be fast, the maps have to be huge. I don't know. But the developers, I felt like, went all out. This is a very large open world Sonic game. There's things all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, so overall, I like the maps. As Noah said, they're very big, but I think it's balanced out by the fact that Sonic does run fast. I would say it does not take a long time to traverse the maps. Like going from one side of the map to the other will take you, maybe a couple minutes, but you could absolutely feel how big the maps are. But it is not like tedious to get around, I would say.
No, that's a fair point.
It also, as I mentioned, has a day-night cycle. I don't like it for the fact that there is actually just a literally one tiny small gameplay effect where there are some things you can only do at night, and that's annoying. I hate that in
That
any game.
is annoying
Yep.
because, in a lot of other games circumvent that by having some kind of wait system in the game that will, you can basically set day and night at that point. But in this, there is nothing like that. You just have to wait until it happens to be night and remember, like, oh, hey, there's that thing I can only do at night. I have to drop everything and go do that right now.
Yes, and I did that multiple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I will say I like the first and last map the best because they're flat. And again, with Sonic's just movement and speed, I think that works better. Like there's still hills and stuff, but for the most part, Sonic can run up those, which is very nice. But the Ares Island, which is the desert kind of plateau island, and Chaos Island, which is the volcano island, both I feel like do the same thing, which is Ares Island plays with levels. As you're going through all of the, like, that's kind of the reason I mentioned like plateaus. As you're going through this map, there's a lot of levels, and plateaus being like sheer drops, so you can't just run up these walls. And so as you're kind of going through trying to, collect stuff, go through the story, get to new areas, you kind of will sometimes maybe get stuck on a lower level and you have to kind of run around and find a way to, you know, uh, find objects to interact to climb up. Um, and I'll be honest, I didn't like that. I didn't necessarily enjoy traversing through that map because of that. I found it annoying, like how many times I would get stuck in like a lower level and have to hunt around for the right item, like the right set pieces to interact with to be able to get myself back up.
Yeah, no, that was the only tedious part of the game.
Um, yeah, and then Chaos Island with the volcano kind of does a similar thing where instead of levels, there are just several different smaller islands, and there are only certain small, paths of grind rails you can take to traverse to each island. And again, like you have to find these specific grind rail locations to be able to move to the next island, which again, it was just very tedious because I'd say oh, I'm gonna go do this thing. Oh, but crap, it's on another island. Okay, where's the one spot where I can move from the island I'm on to the island I need to be on? I also found that to be very annoying. But both of them, like, I understand why they did it because obviously you're trying to make some sort of difference. Make it every island not feel the exact same, and I do respect them doing that.
It also changes the difficulty, I'd say. Some islands are made difficult by their changes in
Terrain.
elevation, the
Hmm.
terrain, right, or the hazards. Like I told you, the
Yeah.
lava actually killed me multiple times.
Yeah, I never died in the lava. Um, but I agree with you, and I think it's just them trying to make it different, so not every map feels the same, and I do respect them doing that. But I did just find both of those maps very tedious and not really that fun to explore because of the difficulties and kind of traversing the terrain.
I will say visually, the maps are stunning.
Oh, visually, they're absolutely they're beautiful. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, it's just some kind of like it's just a lot of the same terrain in every map, but they're made unique both by the enemies and the Sonic style obstacle courses that are littered around the maps.
Yeah, yep, and we'll talk about those later. For now, we're gonna get into the story. So, Dr. Eggman travels to the abandoned Starfall Islands to steal the technological secrets created by the Ancients, creatures related to chaos. When he uploads his artificial intelligence unit, Sage, into a portal, several robotic defense units are summoned. Detecting a threat signature, Sage ceases hijacking the portal and initiates a protection protocol, dragging Eggman into an artificial dimension called cyberspace. Sonic, Tails, and Amy investigate activity that has drawn the Chaos Emeralds to the islands, but their plane is sucked into a wormhole to cyberspace. Sonic escapes to the islands in the real world, where a disembodied voice tasks him with finding the emeralds and destroying the island's robotic titans to remove the boundary between the real and digital worlds. Believing that this will save his friends, including Knuckles, who was transported there while exploring the ruins above Angel Island, Sonic releases their digital forms from cages created by Sage, who works to free Eggman from cyberspace. Destroying the cages causes Sonic's body to become increasingly corrupted. Sage cautions Sonic to leave, influencing the island's mechanical guardians and Titans to attack him, but grows to sympathize with him while observing his interactions with his friends, and Sage forms a mutual bond with Eggman. Sonic and his friends learn from visions the history of the ancients, who are revealed to be an extraterrestrial race whose planet was destroyed by the End, an all powerful entity. The ancients used the Chaos Emeralds to escape and were drawn to the Master Emerald on Earth. But the End followed and started to wipe out their new civilization. The ancients built the Titans to seal it within cyberspace, with their essences remaining within their accessories, the Coco, which become inert once Sonic and his friends help them fulfill their final desires in life. After destroying three of the Titans and disabling the towers that maintain the spatial boundary, Sonic succumbs to his corruption and is trapped between dimensions. Sonic's friends and Eggman are all released from cyberspace, and along with them, Sonic's guide, who is revealed to be the End. in the end, attacks Earth using the last Titan known as Supreme. Sonic's friends purge the corruption from him by sacrificing their physical forms, while Sage and a reluctant Eggman help him collect the scattered Chaos Emeralds, which he uses to defeat Supreme. When the End flees into space, Sage takes control of the Titan and assists Sonic in confronting the End's true form, sacrificing herself to destroy it. Sonic's friends are restored and leave the islands with him, now wishing to make a difference in their lives after their new experience, while Eggman remains behind and revives Sage using the island's technology. And that's the story. Noah, what did you think?
Yeah, I kind of was not really into the story. My problem with it, I guess, is it was just kind of toned down a little bit, boring, just in the way it's presented because the missions in the story have you just watch a cutscene where Sonic is talking to his friends, and every so often there's a memory in the past. Sage shows up. It's all very much the same rinse and repeat over and over again, and I fell out of it for sure.
It's a very simple story. I will give it that. I actually did like it. I Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought the story was cool. The lore with the ancients. I thought that was all cool. I agree with you. I think the story could have been told in a more interesting way. I also wish, Sonic and Eggman did sort of team up in this. I wish that had more of an effect on maybe
I
actual
thought like that
gameplay or
was a
something like
really
that.
cool idea.
Yeah, but I feel like they didn't really go far enough with it because how it works in game is Eggman says he'll help, and then Sonic gets all of the emeralds except one, and then Eggman just gives it to him, and then that's basically all of Eggman's involvement. I wish they actually had done more together, like fighting together, something like that. Would have been cool. I always love when heroes and villains team up and work together, and I feel like this just wasn't actually
I also
it
like
wasn't done as well as I would want.
I also like when they change, like the relationship between a hero and a villain. So if they make Eggman, he like in this game, he's not really involved. He's there, but he's not the villain at all. I kept waiting for him to jump out and try to be the villain, but it never happened. And I just thought it
Yeah,
was like having him as like a side character in the game was an interesting idea.
yeah. I did find it. I was actually kind of annoyed about it. Interesting, I actually we played through this on YouTube. Wink, wink, wink. And I did finish the game by myself. And when I got to the end, Sage sacrifices herself, and Eggman was really sad about it. And I expected Sonic to like come up to him and say, "Hey man, sorry about Sage," or whatever. And he didn't. Sonic did not interact with him at all. I was honestly kind of annoyed about it because I just thought, Sonic like is
That is weird. Sonic also knew
because
Sage.
because Eggman and Sage is almost like a father-daughter relationship. I think like she literally calls him father, and he actually cares about her. I could not tell the whole time as I was playing through this game if he actually cared or was just kind of playing with her like emotions because he's a villain. But no, he actually seemed to care, and so I was pretty annoyed that she sacrificed herself. Sonic was up, Eggman was upset, and Sonic nowhere near just saying, "Hey man, I'm sorry about her." She was a really cool AI, something like that. No, he just celebrates with his friends and goes off. I also thought it was very funny, as it says here in this plot description, that Eggman revives Sage using the island's technology. I didn't know that happened until I was making this document and got this plot summary. Because when I recorded the end of the game, I beat it. I was kind of just talking about the game, how I felt about it during the credits, and then the credit scene happened with Sonic and his friends leaving the island. And I thought, as I was recording, I don't know if I said it out loud, but I thought, okay, one credit scene, that's surely the last one. And I wrapped up the video and then just turned the game off while the credits were still rolling and completely missed that there was a second credit scene where Eggman revives Sage.
Jaden, I will tell you, I have been burned by that on the channel as well, and now wait for the full credits.
Yep, I should have done that. That one's on me.
Yeah, wait for it to go back to the main menu because that has happened to me in multiple games.
Nice, that's funny. Anyway, so that's the story. Overall, yeah, I liked it. I think it was told in a very weird, disjointed, and yeah, not great way, but I did like it. Anyway, Noah, why don't you start us up on the gameplay?
The gameplay. All right, onto the combat. Sonic Frontiers features a full combat system instead of the simple run, jump, and dash into enemies system Sonic is known for. Sonic has a standard one button mash combo system and a dodge parry defense system. Enemies have health bars, and Sonic's ring system was also adapted into sort of a health HP system. Sonic's rings have always been tied into his health, but now he can have different amounts of rings. It's upgradable. The amount of rings he has can tie into his speed. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it about the rings.
Yeah. Well, also,
Uh,
in terms of the rings being converted into a health system, basically what that means is if you get hit, you do not just lose
that's
all of
true.
your rings and have to collect them again. It's in your number. Say you have 600 rings. If you get hit, you'll be knocked down to maybe 450, something like that. And you can pick up some rings, but obviously you don't drop 150 rings all around. So yeah, there is a yeah, it's not just like you get hit, you drop all your rings, and you have to pick them all up again. You drop some, and if you get hit when you're at zero, you die.
Right, so the basic combat is very fun. It is repetitive, but it's that good type of repeating. And it's really not that repetitive, as we'll get into when we talk about mini bosses and stuff. Sonic's attacks and moves are enhanced by the skills. Along with his classic combat abilities, Sonic gains skill points for defeating enemies. These are used to unlock different skills Sonic can use in combat to defeat his enemies. They are usually activated by holding a face button or dashing and then holding a face button. Some kind of movement like that. One skill will allow Sonic to have an auto combo that automatically uses abilities at the cost of decreased damage. The skills are kind of different in their variety, what they do. Some are dodge mechanics, I think, but overall, they are all very visual attacks, and most do a lot of damage, making the combat this very epic anime Dragon Ball style almost feeling type fighting where Sonic is whipping around, he's teleporting to every side of his opponent, he's throwing balls of energy at them, he's flying into the air and then stomping on them, all kinds of really cool physical attacks for Sonic to have. And it only gets better when we get to the bosses and there's the supersonic fights. Jaden,
Yeah, I
anything to
think.
add?
Oh, I was gonna say, I think you're completely right when you said that the fights are very visual. In terms of, especially for what the game is, being this open world kind of platformer, I guess you could say the combat is probably the best comparison I can think of is like a beat 'em up because they're just enemies that you just fight, but very visual. This is the most. It was fighting the most theatrical fighting I have ever seen in a video game. It's again, especially for what it is, because there are games that are certainly meant to be theatrical, like any sort of game that has quick time events for its fights and stuff like that. But this is just straight up fighting random enemies on the ground, and Sonic will do these moves, and it very very theatric, very fun to just watch and do. And also, as Noah said, there is a skill that allows you to automatically do those moves just with less damage. I actually really like that skill because all the moves are activated kind of very similar way. And sometimes I just like forget, or just when you're kind of in the middle of things, you don't think about it, and I don't do the moves as much as I would like to. So having the ability to just automatically do them, I think is a very smart play by whoever decided they should include that, because again, they're very fun to watch and they do a lot of damage.
That's really funny. I thought when we were playing the game, you scoffed at the auto combo skill. And you were like, I don't need that.
Yeah, no, I did need that. Yeah, because I feel like, because I scoffed at it because of the decreased damage, because I just thought, well, why would I want decreased damage? But yeah, just for the like,
And the
because
auto
I
combo
guess,
really mixes it up. Like that's that's what
yeah,
makes it so
absolutely,
visual.
yeah, and yeah, because hypothetically, just the trade-off is the fights take longer because you do less damage. But again, they're very fun and beautiful to watch, so the fact they take longer isn't really a negative, I suppose.
Right, so that's the combat. Now we can move on to the Guardians. As I mentioned earlier, the Guardians are the mini bosses of the game. These are special, tougher enemies that must be defeated to collect gears. Gears will
We'll
unlock.
talk about it later.
Oh, okay, good. So yeah, mini bosses. I kind of mentioned this earlier. The really fun thing about mini bosses in this game, they will slightly repeat at the end, but even then, their looks are slightly different and their mechanics are slightly different. So it truly does feel like a new fight every mini boss you take on. And what makes them very interesting is these mini bosses will implement different Sonic mechanics, both classic and new, into their boss fight. Whether that's one in the desert is a gigantic, uh, almost like a tower, and you have to ride rings and color them all the way before it sends you up to the next level. And when you color all of them, you get to attack it. Rinse and repeat. These mini bosses are one of the most fun parts of the game because the grunt enemies that are, just basic and around, they are not as fun to fight. They get old pretty fast, and I just ended up running past them, around them, and dodging them. But the mini bosses are fun throughout the entire game. And they're really where you get tested by the combat abilities as well as the different traversal mechanics in the game.
I completely agree with you about the mini bosses. There are, if I'm doing the math correctly here, I think 19 different mini bosses. Of that 19, I know at least 10 and probably closer to maybe 14 are completely unique in terms of not even the same, say, type of enemy. Because you do have, say, like the tower enemy. There are three different towers. There are, I think, three different ninjas. But again, they all have different mechanics that make them different from the others. It's not just a reskin. Oh, this tower's red and this tower's black. That's different enemy. No, they actually have different mechanics, but the overall, I guess, concept of defeating them is the same. But not including kind of those sort of repeat mini bosses. There are a bunch that are very different. Like in every single island, you're gonna face a type of mini boss you have not faced before, and you're gonna have to figure out how to beat it. And they are incredibly fun, like Noah said. There's like the sumo, which is like this giant ball-like robot that once you fight him, like a hexagon of, you could say, ropes basically surrounds you, and you use the
Right.
ropes to launch yourself at it and launch, and then it gets launched among these ropes, kind of like it's like a wrestling match, you know. There's, as Noah said, the one where you have to go on the rings. There's I think one or two where you're, running on like a 3-lane path and you have to dodge their attacks and slowly catch up to them to then attack them. There's a shark in the desert one where you hold onto its tail and you have to just basically ride it and dodge obstacles until you're able to damage it. Yeah, very cool. In our YouTube channel, we did record of this series. Wink, wink, wink. I did try to fight every single different mini boss on camera, like in a recording, at least once, just because they all are so unique and different. And I think, as Noah said, they are easily a very big highlight of this game.
Absolutely. So those are the Guardians. That's pretty much all there is to the combat. It's all those things and the supersonic fights we'll get into, I'm sure.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the extent of the combat.
Yep.
In terms of the other side of the game, it's all about the traversal. You know, Sonic games are infamously known for their traversal. And Sonic Frontiers is no different. As we said multiple times, it is the first ever completely open world Sonic game. Sonic uses his speed to traverse the Starfall Islands as well as the many items meant to assist Sonic, such as speed ramps, pads, grind rails, balloons,
Springs.
springs, anything, any of those items to reach collectibles and objectives. And that is pretty much what you spend the majority of time in the game doing, is going around these maps and just following the path of bounce, 3 bounce pads onto a rail, grind, jump, hit 2 enemies, and you're on this path, and you get, maybe one of the hearts from that island, or maybe there's a chest at the end, or you find one of the gems or one of the levels. It's interesting because, this is a Sonic trope, and as we were talking about how fun the combat is and can be against mini bosses and bosses and even grunts in the beginning, the traversal is just as fun. By the time you are at the end of the game and you're on the last island, or the last two, let's say, you have done a ridiculous amount of these traversal puzzles and trying to get all the collectibles on one map. And you do that 3 times already, and it's still not old, So to me, the traversal is more fun than the combat even. It is the classic Sonic gameplay, and the way that it's implemented in the open world was just genius, in my opinion. I think the way the paths are set up, and as you unlock more of a map, more path is unlocked, which allows for travel around the island to be easier. In our playthrough, Jaden found a fast travel system, and in my playthrough, I never fast traveled once.
Yeah, so I do completely agree, Noah, with what you said, where the implementing of these kind of classic Sonic the Hedgehog platforming puzzles and challenges into an open world setting was actually done very, very well. There are a lot of these little platforming puzzles and stuff littered in the open world. Some of them, as you said, get collectibles. Some of them specifically just help you traverse the world. They're implemented very well and they're very fun. I completely agree with that. And I'm going to talk about, Noah, the cyberspace levels. So, Sonic Frontiers is primarily split into two parts. You have your open world, and then you have cyberspace. The cyberspace levels are modeled after classic Sonic levels in both looks and playstyle. You have classic Sonic 2D and 3D running, jumping, and enemy fighting. Where you just lock on, dash into an enemy, and kill it in one hit. Yeah, and every cyberspace level features 3 additional objectives to complete the level with a certain number of rings, collect all of the red star rings, and reach the end as fast as possible. If you achieve an S rank time and complete the other objectives, you get a key for every objective you complete. Yeah, these levels are, I mean, they're great. They're classic Sonic. They look amazing, absolutely look amazing. And then it's classic Sonic 2D, 3D gameplay. And as we both ranted and raved at the beginning of how big of Sonic fans we are, absolutely loved this part of the game.
I like this. It reminds me of Pac-Man World, how they would have old Pac-Man levels inside every level. And to me, it's like if you want to make a 3D Sonic game, you can commit to the 3D. You don't have to implement 2D. So it's just an extra thing. And really, this is an extra thing because you don't have to get that, like if you complete just a few of the side objectives, you don't have to play through even close to every level in the game.
That is true, actually. You don't.
And
Um,
I missed a lot of levels
yeah.
because I probably just did 3 on every island.
Also, we're going to talk about right now, because yeah, I guess that's it for cyberspace levels. We'll talk about the Psy Loop. Psy Loop is a new special ability introduced for Sonic. It allows Sonic to interact with objects in the environment and stun enemies. How it works is you hold a button. I believe it's triangle on the PS5.
Yep.
You run in a circle, and when you create and you leave this blue trail. Once you create like a closed loop, the trail will glow, let go, and it does something. Be that interacting with something in the environment, it stuns enemies in combat, allowing you to get some free hits in. And yeah, those are the two things it does. Oh, also it spawns rings if you complete a loop just on its own, not surrounding anything. It'll spawn rings, sometimes other collectible items as well. Whatever.
I love the
Um,
Psyloop.
I like it. I had the constant issue where I would keep forgetting that it exists. So I would be,
No, it's
somewhere where you're
genius
supposed to
because it's the
interact
answer
with a
to
part of the.
every puzzle.
It basically is like there were so many times, both in recordings and out, where I would be at this item or whatever, be at this location, and just be sitting there thinking, "What the hell am I supposed to do here? I don't. There's this thing. What am I supposed to do with this thing? I don't know." And then finally, it would just hit me of, oh, just side loop. It's always side loop.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly how it goes. My favorite was this one I actually turned into a short video on one of our videos is where we were looking for the answer to this puzzle, and it was just these little sand mounds, like very, very tiny sand dunes that you have to side loop, and they're buttons. Like,
Yeah.
and they were right there. He was standing on it.
Anyway,
Additional gameplay
additional
mechanics.
gameplay mechanics. So the open world puzzles throughout the world, platforming challenges, and small puzzles Sonic can complete, typically to gain memory tokens. We talked about these. They are strewn about the maps. Fun little puzzles. Yeah, I like them. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
did
expect
talk about
Noah.
these. These
Yeah, I
are
didn't expect you
extremely
would bring
fun.
them up earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
In this game, Sonic has statistics. I believe that's a first. No. So basically, you have speed. Sonic's max speed. He actually gets faster as you upgrade it. That's cool.
Gotta go faster.
Rings. Got to go faster. Rings. Sonic's health, and then his attack and defense. You know, the damage dealt and damage taken from enemy attacks.
So,
We'll kind of talk about how you upgrade these later.
okay.
And I guess that's what I find annoying about them. Overall, I think the stat system is cool and it makes sense, especially the, rings, health, and attack defense for a
It
game that
gives it a
actually has
very
enemies with health
RPG
bars and stuff.
feeling.
Yeah, it's cool. I just think the way you upgrade it is a little annoying, and we'll talk about that.
I wanted to ask if you felt like you noticed a difference.
I'll say yes. I did completely max out all my stats before taking on the final boss, and let me tell you, I killed that final boss very quickly.
That's true, I saw it.
I will say the speed, I did not notice a difference actually. Because one thing the game does, which I think is cool, is you can actually go in the options and lower your speed because when he goes fast, it can be pretty hard to control. And I appreciate them giving you that option to slow Sonic down for, the sake of controls. But when I did get max speed, I went in the options of the game and increased the speed all the way up. And I'm pretty sure started that the last video I did, saying, "Hey guys, I upgraded my speed all the way, so now let's take off and see how fast he can really go." And I started running and just went, "Oh, okay, that's not okay. That's whatever." So yeah, it's fine.
So it's fine.
So it's fine.
The
Map
stats.
challenges. These are short little challenges slash puzzles that unlock sections of the map. Challenges include maze puzzles, hitting balls through rings, racing through squares, reaching a like specific button point in a time limit, hitting stuff, side looping, and jump roping, and others. I really like these challenges actually.
There's so many different types. It
There
just
are so many
never get
different
old.
types. There are also just so many challenges. Probably my only complaint about the challenges is they're never hard. That's not true. There are 3 of probably at least 100. There are 3 map challenges that I actually struggled on. One was because I'm dumb. We actually have that in a video of this one maze puzzle that I was really stuck on, and the only reason I was stuck on it for as long as I was is I forgot how the maze puzzle worked. And there was one platforming one, like race to a point in time limit. I actually didn't record it, which I was kind of upset about because it took me maybe 20 minutes to figure out how to do this one challenge because I don't know why I was just really struggling with it. Yeah, I wish overall they were a bit harder, and that's it.
I agree with you. I did want to say one positive about them is that for the most part, when you unlocked a piece of map, there was another map challenge that was also revealed.
Yeah, I'm
So,
90% sure that was on purpose, and I appreciate
well,
that
yeah,
inclusion.
yeah, and yeah, it was like it's always nice because then, somebody like me who I like to clear the map before anything else, so I can just look for all of those.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Mini games. These are challenges unlocked that must be completed to progress the story. They typically harken back to classic games. There's some that are bullet hell shooters, uh, pinball, lining up light reflecting surfaces, stuff. Pinball sucks. I hate it. I just want to say that. Go watch
I,
that video. It
I
sucks.
think
I
it's
hate it.
hilarious how much we
It
struggled
sucked.
with it because I think,
Don't say we. You weren't
Paige,
playing.
Well, I know on mine I
Oh,
struggled.
you know what? You did play with it. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, Paige reminded me that she did it for me.
Yeah, you can go watch the Sonic Frontiers video where I'm losing my mind because of this goddamn pinball game.
Other than the
Um,
pinball, and even including the pinball, I did think these were fun inclusions. They're just kind of a break from the other styles of games that you've been playing. And they're not
yeah,
very
I did.
long or too difficult.
That is correct. I did like them, and I did. I wish they had done a bit more. Actually, not of the pinball
I
one,
agree.
but yeah, I think these were fun. I wish they kind of had like these little mini games a bit more.
What about the long skydiving ones? I like those.
I feel like you kind of highlighted my issue when you said long skydiving ones. I thought they were too long, but I did enjoy them.
Could be
Um,
just a bit.
yeah, yeah. You also have some where you have to you have to get a bunch of cocoa and corral them to a certain location.
That one
Whatever.
sucks.
I didn't mind those, but they were just kind of there. I like. I wouldn't say they're
I
great,
just
but
don't like
I didn't
having
mind
to
them.
corral things.
I get you. In most games, corralling things is a very annoying task. I will agree with you on that one. Anyway, Noah, talk about the supersonic boss battles.
Okay, as I have mentioned a few times throughout this podcast so far, supersonic boss battles are of the most visual spectacle in the game. Upon collecting most of all the Chaos Emeralds, the boss battle begins. That's all but one on every island. You get them, we've talked about that so far. Uh, in these boss battles, Sonic will get the last Chaos Emerald and turn into Supersonic. If you're not familiar, Supersonic is, you know, basically the embodiment of Super Saiyan. In Sonic, he turns gold, has a gold aura, his spike sticks straight up on his head, and he flies around.
Fun fact: Super Saiyan was inspired by Supersonic.
Is that true?
I don't know, but
I
we
feel like
did.
I looked
I
that
did
up
look it up.
at
I did
another
look it
point.
up,
Which
and
came first?
yeah, and I think Supersonic did come first, which is insane
Okay.
to think about because you see it.
Supersonic debuted in Sonic 2, which was released in 1992.
Oh, that has to
The
be before
manga
Super
chapter
Saiyan.
Super Saiyan was released in March 1991, so Super Saiyan
Are
came
you,
first.
dude? Dragon Ball Z's that old?
Dragon Ball Z is that old. Akira Toriyama
Oh
has been
wow.
out there for a long time.
And also, even other questions. Sonic 2 is that young? Like, I thought Sonic 2 was like
92.
89.
That's not
I
that
thought
young.
Sonic 2 was in the 80s.
No. Yeah, so there you have it. Super Saiyan or Supersonic is based on Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball.
All right, fine.
Um, Goku wins again.
Goku wins again. It's hard to take that guy down.
Uh, I would love to, I would love to see a some kind of Smash Ultimate type game where we have Sonic and Goku, and they can finally have that super battle.
Yeah, classic pairing of people's battle wish list is Sonic versus Goku.
Anyway, so yeah, Supersonic. It is quite a visual spectacle because Supersonic is just something that I personally have been obsessed with. I really think it's a cool idea because it reminds me of Dragon Ball and it makes Sonic really cool. He basically just becomes a god, you know. And these fights make it appear that way. I mean, you play as Sonic flying around, it's always in this giant arena where basically you can move, you're flying and you can fly fast, left and right, or back and forth towards the boss or away. So it's kind of on one plane, you're not really going up and down. And you go in, the boss, we've talked about their gigantic kind of mechs, different shaped every time. And they will have different types of attacks where Sonic will have to dodge in the air or block, parry, and then just mash the one attack button in the game and beat the boss. The attacks are just so visual in a way, there's um this gigantic snake-like mech boss, and Sonic can grab him by the tail and spin him around and throw him into like the mountain wall or whatever. Just these kind of I don't even know, like over the top action moments with Sonic. It's kind of hilarious to see him against these giant bosses and tossing them around and having more strength than them. But that's what Super Sonic is all about. And the boss fights deliver on another note in terms of the soundtracks. I don't know if we have mentioned the soundtrack so far in the game, but the songs during the boss fight are usually like almost metal type songs. They're
Very rocking.
yeah, very, very fast rock songs, and they just hype up the moment that's already super hype.
Yeah, I mean, basically what Noah said. The fights are very cinematic, very theatrical. I think Sonic Frontiers does theatrical boss fights as good as anybody else, maybe even better. And they're very fun. It's also unique in the fact that each boss fight is basically on a timer because you don't lose health as Supersonic because he's like indestructible as Supersonic, but your ring count slowly goes down, and if you run out of rings, you lose the boss fight because that's whatever. So it's kind of like on a
That's how
timer
Sonic
a
dies.
bit. Yeah, it's kind of on a timer a bit. As Noah said, it's this tiny little hedgehog going up against these massive, massive, massive titans. Incredibly fun fights. I actually really enjoyed them. I was actually when I did the last boss, I was kind of upset that I had maxed out my strength because I beat it so quickly, and I just thought, well, yeah, this is a fun fight. I wish I had, I actually spent more time in it because I really enjoyed it. I also just wanted to point out here because we're talking about boss fights. The final boss kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
Because you fight the last Titan and then the end runs into space and it's like this giant ball. And how do you beat this giant ball, Noah?
you throw the robot at it, or you throw it into
No,
the sun.
no, the robot throws you at it, and you press the circle button 3 times, and boom, game over. I think it's a
Super
tiny little quick
memorable.
time event. Yeah,
The
I
whole
beat the
ending, I
Titan, and
agree
then you
with
go up
your
into space, and I was like, oh, we're fighting it on space. We're fighting in space now. And then no, it's just it's just a quick
yeah,
time.
the
Okay,
ending
that's yeah.
happens and it's the credits, and you're like, well, that was stupid, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jaden, tell us about fishing.
Oh, dude, Noah, let me tell you about fishing. I did a lot of fishing. On each island, you can find a portal that teleports you to a pond with everyone's favorite character, Big the cat.
Woo!
Everyone loves Big. Sonic can use purple coins that he finds in the world to fish, and depending on the size of his catch, he will unlock a certain number of fishing coins, which then can be spent on a variety of items, basically all the collectibles, and then a special collectible called Eggman Memos. That yeah,
Oh,
just
that's
bonus
cool.
stuff. I'll be honest, a little disappointed. When fishing was a mechanic, I thought, oh man, that's got to be a pain. It's not. How it is you pick a spot where you cast your line, which picking a spot does not matter in the slightest because, as I
It
learned, you
catches
catch
something anyway.
well, it always catches something, and even though there are a bunch of different species, you catch everything because there is like a percentage, there is a certain number. When you reach that max number, 100%, because you have to do it at least once for a trophy, you can keep fishing there. It's not like, oh, hey, Sonic, you caught everything, you're done, goodbye. You can keep fishing, but it just goes on the same cycle. Like it literally repeats the exact same order of species. There's actually no point in picking where you cast your line. Although it is cool, you do catch a lot of actual just items like chests and a lot of actually old Sonic stuff. You catch an item box, you catch a yellow spring, a red spring, a bounce pad, checkpoints, level goals from like classic Sonic games. It's all really cool. I actually really enjoyed that.
I thought that fishing was fun,
It's fun, but it's very
but I didn't
basic
do it
because
for a
again,
really long time.
yeah, as I said, you cast your line, and then a fish bites. You press circle to reel it in, and then the line will like move like the fish is trying to swim away for roughly 2 seconds, and then it just pops a timing event where you have a red ring or two or three, a wide red ring, and then you have a tiny white ring that slowly expands. And when it's in the red area, you have to press X to stop it, so time. And then Sonic has a little cutscene where he opens his eyes and then he pulls it out, and that's it. It's actually very basic, very simple. And you have to do it a lot for trophies, and it does get a bit like boring if you when you're doing it a lot like that.
Yeah, I was not doing it for trophies or anything, so I was just able to do it and move on when I was bored.
Yeah.
Fishing is very closely tied to the Starfall/slot machine mechanic.
Um.
Every once in a while, at night, stars will rain from the sky. Sonic can collect these stars and use them to play slots. It is automatic, unlocking Cocoa, purple coins, or other stuff in the slot machines. I did like this mechanic because it was automatic. You just keep going around your business and doing stuff because so many Starfalls drop. And, the slot machine just goes, so you don't even really have to watch it because it'll win here and there, and your coins or whatever you get will just go. It'll tell you when you win something. So I think that's a nice mechanic to get a lot of fishing coins.
No, let me tell you, I did not like this mechanic because it was automatic. I thought it was so stupid. Like, you have this slot machine, you don't have to press a button to spin it, you don't have to press a button to stop it and try to, time your stops to get your items. It's straight you just collect stars, and they and it just spins, as Noah said, just while you're doing other stuff. And I just thought, what's the point of this? Like, why
That
why?
is the question.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on now to collectibles. This game, I guess you could say, is kind of like a collectathon. The whole point is just collecting stuff. The collectibles also, I guess you could say, there's a pattern. The entire game is just a pattern of get this to get that to get that to get that other thing to then move on to the next island, to unlock the boss fight to then move on to the next island, rinse and repeat. So for starters, you have the memory tokens. They have a different appearance on each island, basically related to the character you are interacting with. Like for Amy, it's hearts. For Tails, it's a wrench. For Knuckles, it's like a metal. And you need them to continue the story, to basically be able to talk to your friends. You sometimes have to get a lot, which is kind of intimidating because sometimes you can find chests on the islands which will have some in them, like typically 8 or 10. Other than that, you have to do all the platforming puzzles, and you get one basically for each little puzzle you complete, and you need a lot. Like at one point when I was playing through, finishing up the game, on the last island where you get tokens for Sage, I needed 38 to continue the game. There were only two instances where I actually had to go and hunt them to be able to interact with someone. But going and doing all, because you can also actually, you can, the memory tokens are thankfully on the map, so that can help you find some. But actually going through and getting them again, because the platforming challenges are so fun, was not a nightmare, but it was still, I feel like, a bit overkill in how many you needed.
I did not have that problem so much. It was like you only a couple times in the entire game did I actually have to worry about this collectible. But even so, when I was collecting them, I found enough through chests and going along, I didn't have to look at the map to find out where more tokens were. I would just go like, oh, let's follow this. There's one right there, and then follow this path. I haven't done that yet. And just doing the puzzles around the open world, I would get the remaining hearts I needed in no time.
And then you've got gears. Gears are dropped by mini bosses, or also fun, literally every item is dropped by regular enemies, which makes almost everything you do in this game kind of obsolete because you can just fight random enemies
I
to get
think
stuff.
every item has a chance to drop,
Yeah,
but most of
but
the time it's
gears,
XP.
yeah, gears mainly dropped by mini bosses. You use them to unlock the portals, which the portals are the cyberspace levels. Another collectible, as we said, keys unlocked by completing missions in cyberspace levels. They are used. You have to get a certain number of keys to unlock a vault which contains the Chaos Emerald. You also have the Cocos. As we said in the story, they're small creatures that are found on the islands. They're kind of the embodiment of the spirits of the ancients. You use Cocos, you take them to a Coco guy, the Elder Coco, and he gives you speed and rings. Excessive how many you need. You need over 2,000 to completely max out your stats. This is where I was saying that I was really annoyed with the stats, because finding Cocos, there are not 2,000 Cocos to find on this world. Um, and even so, it's just annoying. Luckily, fishing, you can exchange the tokens you get from fishing for Coco, and that's how you really want to grind this, because yeah, very annoying how much you need. There's also the attack and defense fruits. They increase your attack and defense, obviously. They're collected by completing the map challenges. Again, you can also just find them in chests. You can enemies will drop them sometimes, but your typical way of collecting them is when you complete those map challenges to unlock the map. Every one you complete also spawns an attack or defense fruit. Also, didn't mention this, it spawns grind rails that you can use to fast travel basically from one map point to the next.
I
Those
mentioned
are
that at one point.
well, no, because that's different from the actual fast travel system. Like there is a fast travel you can just teleport to portals, and then there's the fast travel to different map points using grind
Right.
rails. That is also kind of an interesting the grind rail fast travel system because sometimes you actually do have to jump and maneuver your way across these grind rails. It's not just jump on this grind rail and then zone out for a few minutes while you go along the path. Yeah, and then purple coins, as we said, used for fishing. They're literally just found in groups among the islands. They're actually the only ones, the only collectible I think that doesn't spawn from beating enemies, but you do get them through the Starfall slot machine. That's where you'll get a vast majority of your purple tokens. Anyway, now we move on to our notable trophies. It's a very simple trophy list, really. Basically, you have to uh, complete all the side stories in every island, unlock all the portals on every island, unlock the map on every island completely, and then beat the game and a very small amount of miscellaneous things. I did my notable trophy is superior ranking, achieved rank S time for the first time in a cyberspace area. As we said, in every cyberspace mission, you can complete, and depending on how fast gets you a rank. S rank on some levels is very hard, on some levels is very easy. There are several that I just got without even trying as I was racing through the level, which is good. I enjoy that. I'm glad that they're not all a huge pain in the ass. But it is funny, just tell you the slight story of this. The very first level of the game, like very first thing you do if you watch our first part of the Sonic Frontiers Let's Play, is about 30 minutes maybe of me just trying to get the S rank time in the first level because that's surprisingly a harder one, I guess.
I think
And
you
Noah
just weren't
is,
there with the mechanics yet.
yep, and Noah's just losing his mind, just begging me to move on to something else, and I'm like, no, I got it. Here, let me just try again. Yeah, fun times. And yeah, that's it. It's a very simple trophy list, nothing too exciting. Noah,
That's a bummer.
why don't you tell us about your favorite moments?
My favorite moments are definitely the supersonic boss battles. I've just never expected to see Sonic boss fights done exactly that way in a video game, and it is everything I could have ever dreamed of. If I were to change anything, I would want to be able to be Super Shadow also.
I got you. Super Shadow is cool. Yeah, mine the cyberspace levels. I love them. I love how they very much what's the word? Yeah, reference back the old Sonic games with their looks and stuff. I was
Pay
constantly
homage.
pointing it out. Pay homage, thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed those levels. I thought they were awesome. There's a lot. There's let me think here if I do the quick math, 29 of them, and I'll be the first to say that isn't enough. There should have been more. I absolutely love those
Yikes.
because they're also pretty quick. You know,
Is
like
this
there's
a
a lot.
3D or a 2?
There's a lot. Well, they're not all 2D. There's a lot
I
of
know.
levels, as I said, 29. But for them, like if you beat a level first try, even say you don't care about the rings and stuff, you're just trying to beat the levels. You'll beat these levels in less than 2 minutes, every single one.
Yeah.
Like they are very short. Yeah, favorite moments. Noah, do you have a favorite boss battle?
Uh, I guess I'll go with a mini boss battle
Yeah, you could
and
do that.
go with the oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but the one of the ones with the trail because those always gave you a hard time.
I think Squid. I think it's
Squid,
called
yeah.
Squid. Yeah, that's a fun one. It was. I agree. I think that is one of the more difficult ones, and it was a very fun fight. I agree with you. My favorite boss battle is Giganto, who is the first Titan you fight, first boss battle, because man, it was so awesome the first time when you have the supersonic change, the rockin' music. Because I mean, all the boss fights, the supersonic boss fights, are basically done the same way, and just yeah, none of the others had that super awesome. Oh my, this is cool, man! Impact that than the first one for me. I really thought it was awesome. No, anything you like that we did not talk about yet? Miscellaneous things.
Oh, well, I guess I'll go with this one. Even though they weren't really a huge part of the actual game itself, I do like the presence of Sonic's friends.
It's cool. I My miscellaneous things. The music. The music is very nice. As we've already mentioned, the boss battles have very awesome music, but every part of this game has very awesome music. The cyberspace levels have really good music. The overworld is when you're in the overworld, the 3D world exploring, for some reason, very peaceful, like piano music, very soft, very weird. I felt like as I was playing, the first map and kind of like I noticed it, very serene, kind of weird, but I liked it. I think it is very fun just have that peaceful music as you're running around.
So what didn't you like about the game?
Well, no, I didn't like two things. One, it's a little repetitive, and I don't necessarily mean the gameplay itself, but just the whole, as I said, the
The
islands.
game itself, everything
Yeah,
is just a rinse and repeat.
it's get heart tokens to talk to people, then get gears to get keys to get emeralds. It's literally the exact same every island, and yeah, I wish they'd change that formula up a bit, but that's fine. And then no spin dash. This is key from the very first Sonic game. One of his most iconic moves, the spin dash, and it is not in this game. I That is
It
just
is
absolute
now.
insanity to me. We'll talk about that, but it on launch was not in this game. Absolutely atrocious that they did not include it. No, what about you? What did you not like?
I thought the mini boss fight mechanics could be difficult here and there.
Gotcha. Noah doesn't like struggling.
I play video games to feel like a god, not a god who has a hard time.
That's fair. That's fair. Anyway, replayability. This one is a beat and delete for me. Um,
It is a beat and delete.
yep, I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun. I would maybe go back in and play the cyberspace levels, but in terms of playing through the entire game again, I wouldn't do that. Anyway, DLC. I will completely credit whoever I need to credit for the fact that there has been a lot of bonus content added to this game since it was released. I very much respect that. They are continuing to support this game, and I'm all for it. And it all has been free as well. No money required. Oh, is it just Sonic Team? Oh, I guess it's just
Yeah, it's just
credit to
Sonic
Sonic
Team.
Team. Credit to Sonic Team. Um, yeah. For example, most recently, literally happened as we were recording the game. I guess because it took us so long. They added action chain challenges. You can also this was added before I actually started playing it. Collectible music tracks that you can then play as you're going through the overworld. Those two are probably the biggest things added. There's a bunch of small stuff like there's like birthday costumes for all the characters, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Whatever. I honestly don't know everything.
it's nothing huge.
And yes, and the spin dash. They added it, but they also made it a bitch to unlock because the action chain challenges. As I said, these were added as I was going through the last island. I did not do one, so I honestly cannot tell you how exactly they work. But to unlock the spin dash, you have to get an S rank on every single action chain challenge. And
I did
there's a
not know that.
lot. There is a lot. I know a video showing someone getting all the S rank challenges, that they made, like a little video guide, was about 55 minutes long, about an hour. And that's, your S rank run if you did it first time every time, which I imagine you probably will not do. Yeah, I think it's absolutely stupid. And also considering you have to play to every island to unlock all the action chain challenges, you basically have to beat the game to even unlock the spin dash. And at that point, what's the point? Like, game's beaten. I don't need this anymore. So yeah, that's annoying.
That's a valid complaint, though.
Yeah. Anyway, Noah, your final thoughts on Sonic Frontiers?
Yeah, Sonic Frontiers to me is still an awesome game and will always be an awesome game. And if they came out with Sonic Frontiers 2, I would buy that in a heartbeat. I think that would be a really fun game. I just like the style of 3D Sonic, definitely like open world in this, RPG type game they're trying to do. And I think they should continue with that.
Noah, I agree with you completely. I loved this game. again, those two complaints I said and what we didn't like, that's literally it in terms of my complaints about this game. I loved it. I always will champion for more Sonic, and I'm so happy, as you said, Sega considers the game a success because I really want there to be more Sonic. I always want there to be more Sonic. And the fact that they consider this game a success obviously means we will probably get another game like this, and I am here for it.
100%. So that, my friends, is Sonic Frontiers.
That
Uh,
is Sonic Frontiers.
yes, if you've been following along our YouTube channel, you might have been getting a lot of Sonic Frontiers content for a while now, but this marks the end.
Yep, it's finally over.
Yeah, it's finally over. So, just wait till we talk about Crash. Oh, right, now we move on to the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay!
Today, we're talking about Inscryption. Now, Inscryption is a game that was added to, I think, PlayStation Pass, either last month or the month before, but it was quite recently. And I heard about it, and it looked to me like a creepy, artistic type of card game. And in fact, it's a creepy, artistic type of card game. Inscryption is a game that's I'll talk about the story first. It starts out in a cabin in the woods where you are held captive by this creepy dude who wants to play this card game. And you build your deck as you go along, and if you lose, he takes a picture of you and creates a card out of your death, basically. Then you start again. As you go through the game, when you beat his first phase, the game switches to a format of like a log of recorded videos where you watch this guy uncover the game of Inscryption. He's basically a YouTube card gamer type dude, and he opens packs in his videos. And then he talks about Inscryption. One of the cards in Inscryption has like a longitude latitude on it, and it's nearby where this guy is, and he goes and finds out that it is a floppy disk version of a video game of Inscryption, and he is playing the video game that you're playing. The whole thing is a, deeply psychological, fourth wall breaking game. That is the story aspect of it. You're going through and you are uncovering basically what's going on in the game of Inscryption, as well as the guy who is going through it and discovering all this. The actual game itself is, like I said, it's a deck building card game. So, your each card has attack and health, and you're trying to hit the enemy more times than they hit you, in essence. This game to me, so that's the synopsis, and then more about the gameplay. There's a lot of special abilities and gameplay mechanics introduced all throughout the game. It's basically always shifting, and that to me makes it fresh the whole way through. It can be quite difficult, and I only had difficulty in the first phase. Then after I kind of figured out which cards were good and how the game worked, it was pretty much a smooth ride for the rest of the game. The game of Inscryption story is really cool because it's about four scribes who can turn basically other things into cards in this game, and they're basically like almost gods or leaders of their own type of mechanic or play style in this card game. And yeah, that's about the game. I absolutely love this game. I played it for our channel. I just thought it was so fun. I was obsessed with the story and the cards, and I wanted to know what happened next. Jaden, what did you think of this game?
Noah, I hated it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Did you
Um,
finish it?
no, I played it for like an hour. Um,
Oh,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. The story concept initially was interesting. I knew that the game would probably go weird places because of the fact that like, I don't know what you'd call it in like the PlayStation 5 home screen, the icon, the, image of it is a floppy disk. And the menu is like kind of an old timey computer VHS kind of screen. And then I start the game and I'm in a log cabin with some old timey, like some like hand drawn cards. It looks like, I got kind of like an old west, like 1800s kind of vibe from that place you're in at the beginning. And so I thought, well, considering the menu and the screen are like more digital, this is probably going to go somewhere weird. But here's the thing, Noah. If you remember back when we first started our YouTube channel, we were kind of trying out different video things, different types of videos. We did news a bit, we did this, we did that. And one thing we did was every month I mean, we only did it, I think, twice, maybe three times. When the PlayStation Plus games were announced, we would make a short video discussing that. And one of those times, one of the games, I can't remember what the game is called, was a card game. It's called something with a tower or something like that. And at the time I
Gwent?
said, no, it's not Gwent. At the time I said, like when we recorded that video, I'm not excited about this. I don't like card games. And I gotta tell you, I still don't like card games. I was out. I did not like that. I did not. I give it the credit of it was very simple as far as because some of those card games are very, very complex. I think overall it was actually pretty simple, and I give it that credit. But I don't like card games. I just don't. I don't like them. I don't like how. I guess you could say there's strategy to it, but also card games a lot of times rely on luck because you got to hope you get a good card when you draw. And I don't like that, especially in a video game where luck doesn't really exist because it's like a computer generated thing. So if they want to make it so you can't win, they will do that. They will code the game to do that.
Did you at least
And I
watch
don't like
the
that.
game or something?
No, I did look it up because I figured it went somewhere weird, and I did see there were kind of different time periods it looked like, but I did not watch anything of it.
The thing is, there's not a lot of
Um,
information to read about it because I was looking up how to do stuff and it was hard to find it.
Yeah. Again, I beat the first boss, who's like the prospector, the miner. And I died the first time against the second boss, I think is the angler, which I'm pretty sure is, an automatic thing. You're supposed to die there because you get your first death card.
No, you're not supposed to do that.
Are you sure? Because the guy had like all bears.
I'm pretty
Is that actually
sure
just part of it?
I'm pretty sure that's just part of it, but
Oh.
your cards get better every time you go through. That's the point.
Oh, I assumed you were supposed to die there. Because as you said, because then when I started the next time, the bones were added in as a mechanic and things were different.
Yep.
Yeah, I just was not a fan of it. Again, it's a card game. You also kind of, you're going on like a path on this map and you could choose directions sometimes. Kind of reminded me of what's that game? Cult of the Lamb a bit.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't like card games. So I was out. Like if you like card games, I imagine you would probably have fun with this. If you don't like card games, you would not have fun with this. And I did not.
That's intensely disappointing.
Yep. Yeah, and it's like the story was certainly interesting. I was very interested, and I just thought, man, I really want to see where this goes, but I just don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy playing this at all. So, that's a shame. That's a shame, but it's okay. I don't. I can't. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I don't want to give people the impression that like this is a bad game. Don't play it. It's just not for me. It is very much not for me. Anyway, Noah, I don't know. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Inscryption?
No.
Okay, so that's Inscryption. Our next indie bit game, Noah, is called Endling Extinction is Forever.
Okay.
I believe that is one of the like PS Plus free games of this month. It's on PS Plus, but I don't know if it's like on the PS Pass or if it's just one of the free games. I think it's just one of the free games. This honestly is the exact same as the last like four games I've picked. I saw it. It's not too long, and I know absolutely nothing about it. But I've been getting pretty lucky with picking some good games, so I'm hoping this continues that trend.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, hey, that's another successful indie bit. Go us. Don't forget, guys, new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show or tell us if you don't, and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast. You can follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on everything we do pretty much. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Super Gamer Bros. That is one word, capital S, capital G, capital B, period at the end, where we upload videos. I mean, pretty much every day. Pretty much uploads every day. And yeah, thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next game.
Bye.